Hi, I'm Larry Puckett, the DCC Guy. Today on the DCC Guy, I want to talk about voltmeters, what they can be used for and what they can't be used for with DCC. There are some limitations. Okay, so this is a voltmeter that I got a few years ago. I like it a lot. It's very good. Seems to be very accurate. And the nice feature about it, it has a feature called auto ranging. And auto ranging means that when you set this to measure, volts or ohms or whatever, it will automatically correct for the range of the output. Okay. On older meters, and I have one here, this is a fairly old digital multimeter, as they're called. There's a whole set of buttons here on the side. And what you have to do is you have to push those buttons, one of those buttons, to get within an expected range of measurements. Otherwise, it's not going to work properly. So you have to know in advance approximately what your measurements are going to be to get an accurate readout. With this guy, and with most modern digital meters, they have an auto ranging feature. So it might cost a little bit extra. You can still buy the cheap ones that do not have auto ranging, but it just makes it a lot more convenient to use in the long run. Okay, so what kind of things can you measure with this? Well, right off, there's the volts, okay, and you can set that for AC or DC. There's resistance here, and that's measured in ohms, and you can set several different options on that one here. And finally here there's amps, milliamps. This only reads up to 400 milliamps, which gets in the way, as I'll show you in a few minutes. Because, a lot of times if you want to measure stall current, for example, you're going to be up over 400 milliamps in most cases. So as I found out, that's one of the reasons, why I still have that old clunky multimeter that is 30 years old. It could take up to 10 amps. So this one here, I can't use this for measuring stall currents, but I'll show you that in a minute. Other than that, I find it great. So let me go ahead and show you how to do some of the things that you can do. Okay, what I have here is the voltmeter. I've got it set for DC. You can see it says auto DC right here, and it's measuring somewhere around 10.9. This is hooked up to a MRC power pack that I use for testing locomotives and the like. So you can see it's a fairly straightforward measurement. And I can select other measurements here. I can select AC, and it's going to bounce, and then back to auto DC. Okay, so you can do both types of measurements using this meter. And right now you can see what we've got. Now let me go ahead and show you how you can use this. Now, so if you have a DC power pack and you want to test it, you can measure the voltage coming out of it. I think you'll find that most of these things you're going to get different measurements whether you measure it under a load or not. Now, one of the realities of making DC versus DCC measurements or AC versus DCC measurements is that these kind of meters, both this one and the older one that I have, are designed for use with standard domestic electrical power, okay, the stuff in your house and in factories and everywhere else in most cases. And that is 60 cycle power. And what's 60 cycle mean? It's 60 hertz power. What that means is it goes through 60 complete cycles of its waveform every second. Now the difference is that DCC does that 8 to 10,000 times per second. Okay, so these meters are designed to work with 60 hertz or 60 cycle power, whereas DCC is putting out 8 to 10,000 cycles. So these instruments just can't keep up with that. They can't provide an accurate measurement of DCC. You have to have a specialized piece of equipment for that. And on Monday, I'll show you one of those that's made for the hobby and give you an idea and discuss it a little bit more. So that's just a warning up front though. Okay, so what can we use it for then? How can we use it on DCC? Well, let's say that you have a power routing turnout, and I've got this one set up so that I'm going to have power going to each of the tracks. Okay, so we'll set that up this way. Okay, now if we measure the voltage across the stock rails, you can see it's coming out at about 10.9 plus or minus a little bit, which is what I showed you the power pack was putting out. But how can we tell then what's going on with respect to our frog? Well, we always want the frog to agree with whatever route we're going through. And with the output set up from our tortoises, we can automatically switch that. And we can use other switching methods as well. But how do you know up front whether or not you've got it wired properly? Well, if you have two rails of opposite polarity, you will get a voltage reading. Let's see if I can show you that here. So again, two rails, and they're reading about 10.9, 11, something in that realm, okay, volts. Now, if I touch, and I've wired, also connected the frog to one of the rails. Now, if I touch the frog and this stock rail, you can see I'm getting essentially 0. That means that these two are the same polarity. Now, if I move it to this stock rail, then I'm getting 11 volts roughly, what we're seeing coming out of the power pack. So that means that this rail and this frog are of opposite polarity. And that's what we would want in order for this route through the turnout to be live. Okay? If it were like that, we wouldn't get any power. And that's what power routing is used for, okay? To be able to control the polarity of the frog. And I've shown you how to do that when I've talked about tortoises in the past, and I'll also go over wiring tortoises directly on the layout in the future. So this is just one way of testing the polarity of the frog against the various stock rails to find out whether or not you've got the polarity right when you wire that frog up. What else can you use it for? Okay, so another useful operation that you can do with volts is to measure the output from a separate transformer or power supply that you're using under your layout for a power bus. So I have a 12 volt 10 amp power supply similar to this one underneath of my layout that powers a 12 volt bus that runs the entire length of the layout, and that supplies power for various accessory decoders, so that they do not rely on DCC track power for power, and it also powers things like LEDs. I have a number of LEDs both in track switch panels and also in structures and the like. And I have a secondary bus where I drop the voltage from the 12 volt bus down to 1.5 volts. And so that allows me to measure that and check that voltage around the layout at various places where I'm feeding power to those accessories. So that's another use for these voltmeters to measure things like that. Those are the two things that I wanted to show you that you can use the voltmeter aspect to measure voltage. So you can check polarity that way, and you can check voltage output from the power pack to a set of tracks or whatever else you want to connect it to. Let me go ahead and move on to another type of thing that you can measure, and that's resistance. And for that, I'm going to move over here to the resistance ohms side. And again, here, it's set for auto ranging. You can also set it up for looking at diodes. You can also set it up for, you can see this, I don't know if you can see this little guy here, but that indicates an auditory output. And what that will do is, if you have resistance less than 60 milliohms, I believe it is, it will give you a little signal. And that can come in very handy. It's used for what's called continuity readings. And continuity simply means that if you place, and let me shut this off and get it out of the way here a second. Let's say we've got a circuit and we want to know whether or not we've got a good, I've got two rail joints here, and we want to know if we've got a good rail joint, a good solder joint. If we place the two probes across this joint, you can see that we're getting a very low resistance, and we're also getting that signal. I can hear it. I don't know if you can. And we can check this one too. Very good. We can check here, and there's nothing. You can see. Here we're getting a little bit. So that indicates you've got a good circuit. So you can use that on your layout to test circuits where you're not sure you've got a good continuity. And it's called continuity because you're getting a continuous connection between or along that path. So that's basically what you want to do as far as resistance goes. Now, another way that you can use that is, let's say you've got a turnout like this Pico turnout here. Okay, so let's check this. Now, what I've done is I've attached one lead from the meter to the stock rail, and let's check. Let's see whether we've got a good connection between the points and that stock rail. Now, this should be live, but I'm not getting anything. Okay, nothing. So let's see, what could be going on here? Well, if I pull that open, what there's a piece of green foam in here, such as you might get on your layout. Let's see if I get a good connection now. Yes, you can see that, or I can hear the alarm going off, okay? And I'm getting a reading down here, a minor resistance. You see it dropping. And you've got a problem, you're not getting power to the point rails or the closure rails, then you can hook it up and check it. Same thing on this side, getting nothing. If I move it, now I'm getting a signal. That indicates that I've got a continuous circuit through here, and it's a good circuit. Now you can do the same thing with a solder joint. Let's say you've attached a feeder to a rail somewhere, and you're not getting power. Well, you can hook it up to the wire at one end and the rail at the other and see if you've got a good solder joint there. You might have a cold solder joint and you need to reheat it and check it. Same thing with rail joiners. Sometimes you have a high resistance between rail joiners. Maybe you didn't clean the rails themselves very well before you put that rail joiner on there. But you can check You can check across the rail joiner to see whether or not you have a good continuous current there. So that's one thing. That's one very common way that you would want to use these. Okay, let's assume that you have a little resistor that you found laying around on your workbench, and you don't want to really go to the trouble of trying to figure out what that color code means there. So the easiest thing you can do is just set your meter for resistance and auto ranging, and use your probes, and let's see what we get. Okay, it's coming out at 1,000 ohms. So that's another thing where that auto ranging comes in, is when you first see it starts out at mega ohms, and then it will automatically drop down into the range and change as it makes measurements. So it's 1.007 thousand ohms. So that's a 1,000 ohm resistor. That's about the quickest thing that I use it for. So basically to check the value of resistors and also to check continuity on the rails to find out if I've got a good solder joint or a continuity in a wire or at a set of track rail joiners here or feeders that you might have attached to the rail. That's a quick way to find out whether or not you've got a good solder joint and a good continuity. Okay, let's go ahead, and the last thing I want to show you is amperage. And one of the really useful things with an amperage measurement is that you can tell how many amps your layout, when it's in operation, is drawing from your DCC boosters, or booster if you have only one. And I'll show you, like I said, on Monday I'll show you a way that you can use a device to measure the actual voltage or amperage of the current flowing from your booster out, and show you how you can use that. But for now, I want to just jump right into the most useful thing, and that's measuring stall current. So let me get set up for that. Okay, so what I want to do next is show you how to measure the stall current, or the amperage draw really, of an older locomotive like this Atlas S2 switcher. Now, I've already measured this a number of years ago, 20 years ago I think it was, using a stabilized power supply. And at that time, it drew about 1 amp. And a lot of these older, this is an older open frame motor. It's not skew wound. You can see it's wound straight. It is a 5-pole motor. But at that time, it measured 1 amp. The voltage output and the output overall on some of these power packs that you might have will drop under load. And that's also true for the amperage. So I think you're going to find that this is not maybe not measuring quite an amp anymore, because I'm not using a stabilized power supply to do this measurement. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how I've got this set up, and we'll make a measurement of the stall current so that you don't install an underpowered decoder in a locomotive like this. Okay, so what I have done here, I've set up a section of track with an older Atlas S2 switcher on it, and I've hooked it up to the power pack. What I have done though is I have run one leg of the circuit through the voltmeter, and I'm measuring amperages. And I've got it set on the 10 amp range. Now when I turn this on, it's going to start to creep up, as you can see. So it starts out pulling about 0.13, 0.15. We're going on up, 0.23, 0.3, 0.4. It's going to go on up. I'm going to crank it on up here. And finally we're up here, we're pulling, close to 0.7 amps. And what I can do is I can hold this and press it, and we're getting almost a stall current. But then I can grab the flywheel and hold it. Okay? And we're pulling up there around 0.7 amps. Okay, let me take that off. Now what that tells you right off is you want a decoder that's going to be able to supply better than 0.7 amps, or 3/4 of an amp. Most of the decoders made today are rated at about an amp continuous and up to 1.5 amps in a full stall mode, or under certain circumstances. And that's the kind of thing you want. You want it to be able to handle the load that the locomotive is demanding. Otherwise, you're going to burn up the decoder components, and you're going to be talking to tech support. Well, I hope that gives you a better idea of what you can use a voltmeter or a multimeter for. They're pretty useful for DCC and DC. Have a good weekend, and stay safe, be healthy. On Monday, we'll take a look at ways to use meters with DCC. Take it easy.